I used to hustle, and I used to practice by myself because I didn't dare cut in with the girls, thinking that a girl might be, oh, who's you, you know? So I used to just take to the floor, and I took all my aggression. They didn't notice me for my hustling abilities. They were gonna notice me for my breaking abilities.
The Rocksteady crew started in '77. A lot of its members were like all-star b-boys from the Bronx. The guys that started Jimmy D and JoJo, they hung out on at 115 Park in the Bronx.
We came up with the word Rocksteady. We started thinking because we want to continue dancing. We wanted to keep it at a steady pace.
You know, when they started doing it, a lot of people called it rocking, going off. And what they wanted to do, you know, they noticed that a lot of people were stopping around 76, 77. And, you know, they wanted to keep it going on, you know what I'm saying? They wanted to keep the rock steady. And when they started getting too old for it and it started dying down with them, they passed it along to Legs.
In '79, I moved to Manhattan. 1979, a lot of b-boys were locked down, doing stick-ups or whatever, murders, or went away to Job Corps, or just got regular jobs. Retirement age for a b-boy back then was like 16, 17 years old. When I moved to Manhattan, I used to always try to come back to the Bronx and go over the jams, do whatever I can to get back on the weekends, stay over on Cortona Avenue.
Between the summer of '76 and '77, me and my friends, we had a crew called the Rock City Crew. And then, like, around '79, the dance started fading out. I still kept on, but the only time I would go down is if I seen somebody else. And then, my cousin Ty Fly, he introduced me to Ken Swift and his crew called the Young City Boys.
My crew, we were just like mischievous. We used to do things like go and throw, down the alley, there's a precinct, right straight there. We used to throw eggs at the police and run.
They were like, 3 or 4 years younger than me, so I looked like the big kid of them. But, I told them anytime y'all have any battles coming up, I'll take your side.
I got down Rocksteady when I battled Legs, and then a lot of my crew got down Rocksteady.
And Mr. Freeze was part of Rocksteady in the Bronx already.
The only white boy I knew that was a b-boy was Mr. Freeze. He was the only white boy, the first white boy in the Bronx with juice. He could go in any black Puerto Rican neighborhood and walk through and say, I'm Mr. Freeze, Rocksteady crew. He was like, oh, yo, you're cool, man.
Me and my cousin Lenny Lamb, we were traveling all over the place, battling people, and then just like start hanging out with them. When you hang out with those people, they might know someone that might be breaking in another area. Like, all right, cool, let's go over there. I want to battle them. It's like the martial arts films where it's like, yeah, I heard your style is good, but mine is better. And you go there and you test their style. And that was my way of recruiting.
Our crew was called Rock City Rockers, man, from the 173rd Street area. We were battling, we would do it for fun because there were really nobody in our area that we, you know what I mean, that were really involved until we met up with a guy called Crazy Legs. I was like, oh man, yeah, I want to adapt that style, man. That's why my name is Little Crazy Legs.
That's basically how I met everyone else that ended up being in Rocksteady. I met up with Frosty Freeze, he knew people, Take One knew people, Ken Swift, Mr. Wiggles, then you had my peeps around Cortona, Toxic, A1. We just had like 500 members of Rocksteady.
Well, that's good. Johnny J is my name. Yeah. Frosty Freeze, please.
Ripski, please.
Dualism. Crazy Legs. Lenny.
Yeah, we're going skiing. Kennegan.
Roski. Mr. Freeze.
Top block can't be stopped.
One of the first times I met Rocksteady and we did something together, Henry Chalfant, legendary graffiti photographer, documentarian, got together with the Rocksteady crew because so many graffiti artists used to come to Henry's studio to look at his photos of the trains that he began to realize that a lot of these guys were also breakdancers. Hence, they were the Rocksteady crew. Henry knew me, he knew a bunch of other heads, and he said, listen, I wanted to put together like a show. And they projected the slides up of the graffiti while a Rocksteady crew danced, and I rapped, and the DJ was cutting it up. And that was reviewed in the Village Voice. The Village Voice wrote a big article on that. And from then, like, it seemed like it was on.
We started doing that. Henry Chalfant put us on. What we were doing is we were breaking up Rocksteady crew into two groups. It was Rocksteady and Breakmasters for shows. Just battle each other, but it got to a point where like, yo, you know, forget this, you know, let's make it interesting. And we were hooked up with a show at Lincoln Center. Henry Chalfant again hooked us up with that show. And it was like, yo, let's battle dynamic in a neutral ground now in Lincoln Center, Manhattan, boom. 95th was covered by National Geographic. It was came out in the front page of Metro section in the New York Times. It was also in 2020.
And they showed it on Channel 7, ABC News. I just remember seeing Legs on the news, and I was like, oh, dip, you know, like that's Legs.
And at the end of the battle, they were like, who won the battle? All you heard was Rocksteady, Rocksteady, like in the middle of Lincoln Center.
One day I was watching TV and I saw Rocksteady on TV, and I was like, whoa. They can do it, we can do it. So I got a group back together. I went and recruited Chino, and we started from there.
To make a long story short, we met Michael Holman, who was some type of manager to Rocksteady, and in 1982, they offered us a battle.
I had a nightclub called Negril, the first hip-hop club in downtown New York. And I invited down Rocksteady crew to perform every Thursday night. Believe me, everybody was there. Rene Ricard, Francesco Clemente, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Keith Haring. And so here's where Negril comes into exposing hip-hop to the rest of the world. Because New York is a media capital. Every important magazine, every important newspaper has representation in New York City.
On the wheels of steel. Yeah. Oh, yeah. My man. Baby, yeah.
After a while, I started getting a little bit bored with just Rocksteady crew doing a dance performance. And I said, Legs, you know, what's up with this battles I keep hearing about? I didn't really know. And after a couple of weeks, he found a crew called Floor Masters.
Well, actually, they needed a crew to battle so they can look good on film. And they wanted a crew that wasn't as good as them so they could look real good on films. And what they didn't know is that the Floor Masters were real good.
You can't get fresher than this. That was fresh. You want a fresh style? Let me show you. You can't get fresher than this. That was fresh. You want a fresh style? Let me show you. You can't get fresher than this. That was fresh. You want a fresh style? Let me show you. You can't get fresher than this.
And when Floor Masters came down to perform, a light turned on in my head. Because what I saw was breakers who may not have been as good as Rocksteady crew in the finesse and style end of breaking. What they lacked in that, they more than made up for in the athleticism of breaking. They spun longer, faster, and harder. And I thought, that's what I want to do. I want a crew that's an athletic-like crew. That's a crew that would eventually find its way into the Olympics.
Michael Holman saw something that he felt like, wow, this is a real good thing. And, you know, they changed the name from Floor Masters to New York City Breakers.
A lot of people think that if you're from New York and you're from the Bronx that you know good. But we're from the Bronx and we out here to show everybody that we're good. That the Bronx doesn't just got bums and ghettos, but it got something good too. Because we're the freshest kids out